Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 133. And yeah, as you can tell from Mike, it is early. It is 8 o'clock in the morning on the day that this podcast goes live. So we are putting in the time in order to get this one to you. But you know, scheduling conflicts always seem to happen, and they come up at the last minute. But we do what we can, and we're going to get you a show no matter what fucking happens.
Yes.
I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay, and I am here with my handsome but tired friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
Something like that. How are you?
I feel guilty saying that, actually, because there's probably lots of people that listen to the podcast that get up this early all the time, but you usually get up early.
Yeah, I've been used to getting up early. I've just not been sleeping very good because the last couple of days I've had withdrawals from my meds. I was telling Big Craig, shout out to Big Craig, hi son. Just that I'd run out of meds.
Big Craig that's been riveting? That's not the word I'm looking for. Ribbing, that's the one. Ribbing me for shaving my head.
He ribs me about everything in life as well, so don't worry about it. By the way, I really think you suit that. I think people should chime in and let me know what they think as well.
I'm not a fan, but some people have said that they actually really like it. So I would like to grow a little bit more hair on the top. So I've got something.
Well,
I'm doing this like I have a cock on my head. Like to grow a hair cock.
Manifesting a forehead penis.
Yes.
The good thing about your hair is it grows. So don't cut it short if you don't want it so short. Aye.
Yeah, that's the plan, is to be able to start again and grow a little bit more on top. But who knows? You know, I chopped it all off because every day when I was putting my ponytail up, well, not really ponytail, top knot ponytail, I don't know, top tail, who fucking knows? I was pulling more and more hair out, and I was noticing that the tail itself was getting thinner.
Right.
Yeah, my hair was in an unhealthy state, and I was able to pull it out too easy. So I'm not balding, hopefully. We shall see, though. If maybe it comes through. If it doesn't come through, I can assure you I won't have this. I'll just shave it off completely, and I'll have a shiny head.
Well, if it really, really comes to it, we can rename the podcast to SBP, Scabby Baldy Pals. And me and you will be Scabby and Baldy together.
Shiny bald pricks.
Nice. That makes it sound a bit more X-rated than it needs to be.
Yeah. We have several stories to talk about today. We are going to see how things go. We've got a few bits of fan mail to look through. We've got some nice stories. We've got some not so nice stories. And we're going to laugh at Gibson. And of course, there is a Joe Bonamassa story to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it because we will be doing a bonus episode. We keep talking about doing a bonus episode, and life keeps getting in the way, but we're trying to time this right. Our new
Stop being nice. It's me. I'm always getting in the way because my life gets in the way.
Yeah, the new Ormsby's will be here tomorrow. So Mike's definitely going to want to get his Ormsby. So we will be doing a video opening those, playing those, talking about those, and just being goofballs. So if you want to see the actual unboxing type video of those, head on over to Buy Me a Coffee, link in the description, and you can throw us $1. I think, yeah, you throw us $1, and that'll get you access to all of our bonus episodes, and it's a great way to support the show. So other than that, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So, as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. We appreciate those guys. They've been very kind to us over the last couple of years, and we would love it if you were as kind to them. It's like we're saying, be kind to them and support them just because they support. No, be kind to them and support them because they make really good gear. So
That helps.
yeah, we're
It
very,
definitely
very
helps.
lucky actually when you think about it that we are sponsored by a great guitar company and a great amp company. It's not like we're sat here being like, check out our no-name brand that nobody's ever heard of guitars and I don't know, Bad Cat amps. Are they cheap amps?
Don't think so. I think Bad Cat are kind of like what Buddha used to be, like
Right. Okay.
kind of boutique.
Okay.
Good effort though.
I'm struggling to think of a shit guitar brand and
I can think of
shit
one
amp
that
brand.
we don't have. We don't have a sponsorship from Sawtooth.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
covers both.
Good point. Yeah. maybe we should reach out and see if we can get a dealio going with the Sawtooth.
I'd
people.
sooner reach my hands out and try and steal something in the fucking Middle East. Chop them off. Fuck that.
Yeah. So Ormsby definitely. We're going to pick an Ormsby over a Sawtooth guitar any day of the week. Though saying that, man, Strat.
Such an old man.
Yeah. I had Ross was over last night,
Uh-huh.
and we were just playing through all the guitars, and Strat.
Can't you get away from it
I
now?
really like a Strat. I've put 10s back on it, but I'm going to go up to 11s on it, and I'm experimenting with what feels and sounds right.
Why don't you try 10 to 52s?
Because it's not the bottom end that needs more weight; it's the top end.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
fair
not
enough.
doing all the bends and the rock guitar thing anymore. So I'm playing a lot of triads and rhythm guitar for
Surely even with
funk and soul stuff. So,
Like the country stuff and whatever else, you don't want your strings to be too heavy.
but I'm never going to play country stuff on the Strat. I'm always going to a telly for that. So, yeah. I can actually now announce my return to live music. Yeah, my return to live music is going to be happening next month. Actually,
Nice.
yeah, December the 31st.
Mm-hmm. You pick your dates.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm debuting with Melissa and the Smoking Crows.
Mhm.
At Ashton Lane. We are playing the Ashton
Fucking
Lane
banging.
New Year's party, which is evidently quite a big deal. A very popular.
Ashton Lane's always popular.
Let's call it a Tory New Year's party. Swanky New Year's party.
You're going to go a very quick way about not making that debut if you keep bad-mouthing the full clientele.
Hey, I'm supportive of the clientele. They're all very well.
I'm supportive of the clientele. They're all very wealthy.
Here's where you and I are massively different. When I say a lovely Tory clientele, I'm making no comment about what that means. Whereas you hear Tory clientele, and with that comes the negative connotation. For me, it's just a very rich clientele.
I mean, maybe there's just we're both seizing the means of production. You're just doing it the slow and boring way.
I want to slowly get paid until these people have no more money. So that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah.
You will not be able to skeg off and stub out on the couch.
So if anybody would like
The
to come,
revolution will not be televised.
if anyone wants to come and see me make an ass of myself returning to live music,
I bet it'll be good.
I honestly think I'm gonna have to devote the entire next month to making sure I've got all the fucking material down, because it's 3 45-minute sets of music. Like,
Good.
Fucking hell.
I'll try it by fire, mate. Are you going to be playing guitar or keys?
I'm playing guitar. I can't play keys yet. Be a while before I can do that.
Boring.
Yeah.
How is your organ?
Oh, mate. Oh, it's
2 layers with the foot pedals.
I have to
Is it
be-
2 octaves of foot pedals as well.
it's 2 octaves of foot pedals. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I have to be really honest, right? So it turned up just before we went away for the weekend. So I put it in place but didn't plug it in or play it or anything. Came home, immediately turned it on, sat down and was like, fuck me, this is intimidating. Like, what the fuck do you do with this? Genuinely, like, extremely intimidating. What the hell am I supposed to do with this?
I think about like getting somebody like Steve Morse's rig. And
Yeah.
being like, there you go, work that out.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's about 7 pedals here. What do they all do?
Yeah, it's scarier than Steve Morse's rig though, because you can get books on how to play like Steve Morse, right? There are no good books on how to play Hammond organ. So
Really?
there's none. There's
Don't put that out in the air, mate. That's your next book.
I would never even dream of it. I have to say though, like
Hybrid organing.
playing this and versus playing the Hammond that I've got upstairs, the comment that I have to have on the I got the Viscount Legend. The keys feel very cheap on it. The actual keys themselves feel like cheap plastic, and they don't feel like they've got any heft to them whatsoever, which I'm not crazy on. And the sound of it is nowhere near as good as the organ sound on the Nord. Nowhere near as good. So there's that. But I've got all the mechanical stuff there to learn to do it.
I'm sure once you tweak it, you'll be like, okay.
Here's the other thing though. Have you seen did you notice where it is?
No.
It's in my bedroom. Because I've got no fucking room anywhere in my house or studio to put an organ because they're quite big. So it's sat in the
Fold your electric kit up.
I could maybe put it out here, but I want to keep the electric kit out because we're going to do some rehearsals for Ashton Lane in here.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, organ, fun. But we'll talk about the Pianobs podcast in the future.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice having an organ upstairs in my bedroom because there's so many dick jokes that can be made.
I was just going to say, like,
it is pretty glorious.
Yep.
Yeah.
How big is your organ?
It's
Do you ever take it out?
It's pretty big. You need to sit down to handle it properly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And how does Mail feel about that?
Oh, she loves sitting upstairs in the bedroom watching me play on my organ. Yeah.
I bet you.
I could take you upstairs. You could have a go on my organ if you want. Play it till your hands are sore.
I'd rather watch.
You can watch.
It's more up my street.
Nice. I make a lot of horrible noises when I'm playing it though.
It's
right.
my forte.
Let's get on. We got a few bits of fan mail. As always, please do send us fan mail into GsolesFanMail@gmail.com, especially for a week like this week where content is pretty thin on the ground. We've got a few things to talk about, but none of them really feel like heavy stories. You know what I mean? Apart from the pissing, which I'm really looking forward to.
I was just trying to find a way to segue in a wee nuanced joke, but nah. Except the pissing.
We'll get right to the pissing.
You know what? It's too early for subtle jokes. Yeah. You're right. Let's get straight to the pissing at some point.
Fan mail to GsolesFanMail@gmail.com. Link is in the description of wherever you are listening to this.
And thank you to everybody who has written in so far. It definitely makes it a bit more exciting.
Absolutely anything. Okay, so first bit of fan mail comes from Paul Gills. This is about originality in metal.
Oh, that's a very interesting one. Yeah. Thanks very much for writing in, Paul. Hi, Levi and Mike. Hope you're both doing well. We're all right, mate, thank you, and hopefully yourself. As you wanted potential topics for the podcast, I thought I'd throw one in your direction. I don't know if it's me getting older, or that I'm slowly losing the rose-tinted glasses I once wore for metal, but I feel that a lot of the metal acts are losing their individuality. Is it down to laziness, or is it what seems to be the popular recording technique at the time? It feels like every time I recommend something new, the bass is put through a dark glass microtubes. Yes. I'm not saying it's not good for metal. Double-tracked, one clean and one distorted, and then highly compressed. But does every bassist need to be using that as their sound? The guitar tone always seems to be crank the gain, cabs to below with vintage 30 speakers, and mic it with 57. Is it that these things come and go, or is it people embracing new technology because it only feels like 10 years ago people recorded bass with a Sans amp and all guitarists use a 5150? I'm not saying this sound doesn't have a place in modern metal, but a lot of bands seem to be producing the same music and I feel it's become stale and lifeless. Is metal losing its originality? I feel like nothing shocks or excites me anymore. So do people just need to start breaking the mould and become individuals, or am I just getting cranky in my mid-30s? Love to hear your thoughts on this. Been an avid watcher for some time, just not a big comment. Cheers and fuck the Tories, Paul. Thanks very much for writing in, Paul. And you're right, fuck the Tories.
It's a good email. I like that.
It's a belter an email, and you have made a lot of valid points.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. And I think what the problem is although metalheads probably think of themselves as being progressive and different and like. I do probably the only way to describe it is different, like unique. Nah, it's not, and it's exactly that. I think it comes down to production. It's a word that you used a few times.
Yeah.
There seems to be a trend in how bands want to sound and how they want their sound to come across. Originally, it was Andy Sneap.
Yeah.
I mean, at least when I was growing up, I'm not going to say before like. Then obviously there was a lot of other metal producers and a lot of musicians and stuff. But in my ears, when I was younger, it was like Andy Sneap and Adam D were the two producers.
Yep.
You either wanted a thrashy sound that sounded really metal and almost like Fear Factory, or you wanted Adam D's big production.
Yep.
That almost kind of wall of sound gainy, really vibrant. And those were the two sounds that you heard for bands in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Which is either like you had the metalcore sound with the skipped mids, or you had the metal band sound, which is exactly as you've said, a 57 on a V30 and a 5150 running through it or whatever. Pretty ridiculous, to be honest. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned the dark glass, because I like the sound of it, but I totally agree with you. It seems to be that everybody has seen what Nolly did and went, I need that.
Because it sounds great.
Totally.
It does sound... His bass sound is fantastic,
and it sounded perfect down Periphery. Like the perfect blend of clean and distorted and range. It's not always going to work for every other band.
But there's I've got a few things that I'll say about this, but we'll start with that bit about the dark glass. Completely agree with you, but also at the same time, I can't really imagine a mindset from a player whereby they're used to playing with whatever sound they had growing up, and then they see or hear or experience this, let's call it the nolly tone, right? And they give it a go and go, wow, this sounds awesome. I'm going to go back to the shit tone I was using before just so I stand out. It is a difficult one, because once you play with that sound, you're going to go, Jesus, you can really hear my bass, and it really makes my bass feel and sound like it's contributing a lot in the mix. So it's very hard to be tempted by this glorious thing and then go, actually, I'm going to go for this more traditional sound. So I do understand why people are doing it. And the other aspect that's probably worth talking about with this is, the business side of music. It's hard to make any money in music, full stop. So eliminating as much risk as possible there. You've got two options for taking a risk in music. One is making music in general and trying to sound as much like whatever is popular, so people that are already interested in that thing will also be interested in what it is you're doing. Or you can take the slightly more risky route, which is, okay, there's all these sounds that are popular. I'm going to try and do something completely different and completely new and hope that becomes the popular thing. Both of those involve a lot of hope, but one of them is a lot more risky than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why people don't want to do that. Also, probably just worth briefly mentioning the idea of art, right? This was never a thing for me, the art of music, trying to create something that was an artistic statement. I grew up listening to bands, loving bands, and wanting to do something that sounded like those bands, right? There was no part of me was a creative in the sense where it was like, I envisage a sound that isn't out there, and I want to go out there and create something that sounds like me. That wasn't there for me. That was just never there for me. I wanted to sound like bands that I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, I imagine that a lot of people are probably in a similar vein, not because they don't want to, but maybe they've never even considered, the value of going out and trying to create something that sounds completely new and has never been heard before. I think a lot of people just start playing music because they hear music, they like it, and they want to do it. What do you think?
I think that's probably the reason why I got into it. I don't believe I had any grand artistic ideas either, if I'm honest. It was very much that guy's playing the guitar and that sounds fucking cool, I'd like to do that.
Yeah.
The other thing, just to go back to what Paul's saying there about the sound, pretty much being the same for everybody. Another contributing factor is the fact there is so much modelling equipment in VSTs.
I was going to say, he talks about the guitar tone always seems to be cranked again, cabs loaded to vintage 30s and speaker mic at 57. Probably less so now. I think, to me, the last 10 years is the sound of, it was initially, he's using the Axe effects now. And now it's, everyone's using the Neural DSP stuff.
Mm-hmm. But you'll probably find the majority of the stock default IRs are a 57 on a V30.
Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from,
Sure.
but it's like...
But by using the same modelling technology, you inevitably end up with, it doesn't... you're reducing the variance even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Not to say that modelling equipment and IRs and stuff aren't heavily impressive these days.
Yeah.
They really are.
Which is why people use them, because they sound great. And it's, again, it's that dark glass thing where these sound fantastic and they're easy to use, very tempting. And imagine being presented with that and going, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the days of lugging a 4x12 into a studio, putting a microphone on it, and hoping that I can get a good sound. Like
spending a long time tuning it and trying to make sure that if I do use a secondary mic, that I then don't have phasing issues and that I'm not getting enough or too much air into from the room, and we don't have any nasty EQ spikes from the microphone sitting in funny ways. Like,
and I don't own a studio, and I've not got the budget to go to a studio for too long. So
and I can't turn that 120 watt amp up full blast as long as I want.
Yeah. Meanwhile, using my modelling gear, I can record my guitar parts at 2:00 in the morning while my kids are asleep. Like, yeah, I see the appeal. Sorry, continue.
It's all right. So there's a lot to be said about modelling equipment as well. We have the technology and the power now to have so much variance in sound and so much experimentation that would have took a lot more time and effort and resources before. Whereas now you could probably just pick two IRs and go, that's how that would sound in a cab. That's all right. That's a good idea where to go. Like, the options for this stuff are pretty minted. But I agree with you, Paul. The only thing I would say is what doesn't help any is there are a few bands out there that have tried to do something different, and they usually either get sidelined or shot on, if I'm honest. Like people trying to break the mould. I felt that way about the Sun Eater album by Job for a Cowboy. And remember the one we were talking about with the fretless bass on it, and it's like, doesn't really sound like a Job for a Cowboy album, but it's not badly produced and it's certainly not badly played. And that seemed to get shit on quite a bit because the bass is so prevalent on it. But I think I would hope that was an intentional thing. It seemed like that was a big focus on the production and the writing for that album. It was, well, everybody's so used to hearing the guitars as number one and being the main focus, and the bass not really doing anything. Why don't we kind of add a different element in there?
And why don't we celebrate when bands do something different like that? Like there was a long time ago where I was trying to put a lot of attention on bands like Panzer Ballet or Thank You Scientist, because again, both using brass in your band, or actually saxophone, so woodwind, reed instruments, wind instruments. But you know where I'm going. Like, these are new sounds that you don't hear often in metal. Like, why not champion this? Why not, pat bands on the back and go, oh, that's really, really cool. Let's see where things can go with this. I know the answer. The answer is not because it doesn't sound cool. The answer is because if it becomes popular, it's a pain in the ass for everybody to have to find a sax player to join their band.
I don't even think it's so much that. I think it's the minute that people realise it's cool and then other bands start doing it, then it becomes uncool because it becomes a gimmick. Yeah. And that seems to be, at least in terms of like saxophone solos in metal, that seems to be a thing that happened. Is it Elliot Coleman? Was a vocalist for Good Tiger, maybe, and I think he played saxophone as well. And it's like, but wasn't Periphery 1 there's a saxophone solo? Am I tripping?
I mean, it's been years since I've listened to that album.
Same, but I believe that there was certainly at one point. I believe it was that it was Periphery, but there was like a gent band had like a saxophone solo in a song or something, and it just became this thing where loads of bands were doing it. And I can see why that then goes, nah, quite gimmicky. If that is not part of the actual arrangement for the band, it's totally different when you've got players in the band. Thank You Scientist obviously have Ben on violin. I'm not sure who they've got on sax.
They changed. I always think of it as being Ellis on sax, and it's not Ellis anymore. Yeah,
but you get my point. Like, if you've got a permanent part of the band, that's cool. That makes sense because all your writing is going to fit that instrumentation.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've just got it where you just crack out a random saxophone solo, it's probably going to be cool as fuck.
Yeah.
But then every band on the planet does it, and you go,
Yeah, like Melissa's using Dave Donnelly, obviously. And when we are doing gigs, when she's doing a gig where there's not the budget for a full horn section, which is almost always, and she can only have one horn player, she's going to have Dave on it. And for most of the gig, Dave's going to be playing baritone sax, because he enjoys playing baritone sax. He'll pick up the alto for a solo every now and again, but the baritone sax works for most of it because he can use it as part of the riffing side of things. He can use it as to support the rhythm parts in a nice way. And yeah, if you're going to have a sax player in your band, in a metal band, You would want Dave Donnelly. You'd want somebody that has a baritone, so they can add that timbre to the riff, to the rhythm playing, rather than, as you say, just someone that's in your band that doesn't play anything until he has a solo. So.
I think it's quite intimidating having somebody like a saxophone player in the band, because that means that you need to admit there's at least one person in the band that can read sheet music.
Yeah.
Or that they've been upstaged.
The comment about getting cranky in your mid-30s, like I'm obviously heading to mid-30s now. I don't necessarily think it's a crankiness, though. I think it's just an inevitable. It's a very special type of person that reaches that or this age in life and doesn't yearn for what they enjoyed when they were 14, and it's stops developing an interest in finding new things and appreciating new things. There are some people, but it's a tiny, tiny portion of the music listening public that get to that age and they're like, oh, I can't wait to go out and find new sounds. That's just the way humanity's always been, though, right? Look at the generation that come after you and go, oh, the kids today. I've been doing that for 15 years.
It's true. I think you do it inadvertently, and even when you challenge yourself on it, you still go, no, the kids are wrong.
Yeah.
You turn into fucking Seymour, don't you?
Yeah.
Also, it's not that I'm cranky in my mid-30s, it's that I don't get to crank my V30s quite enough. I actually just sold a cab with V30s in it.
Yeah.
I had one in the studio. It was a great sounding cab, but I wasn't using it because I've got the Marshall Mode 4, the MF400. This is us going into cab chat, bro. With the K100s. See, honestly, man, I don't think I'm ever going to need another cab unless I decide to fuck with the K100s and put something else in, like an X pattern, because that cab is unbelievably loud and unbelievably clear. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, turn that amp up past 5 and it's like getting a punch in the jaw every time you play a note.
And here's the thing we should say, Paul. There are plenty of bands out there that are trying to do things that sound not like all the other bands. Go and listen to some Party Slam. Defend Party Slam.
No, I don't. Don't save yourself the problems and the hassle. Hopefully that answered your question, mate. Thanks very much for writing
thank you. Let's
really
keep going on.
It.
This is a long email, and we'll probably end up stopping through this to make some corrections. But yeah, this is Michael Bryant.
Cool. Thanks very much for writing in, Michael. Great name. Good day, guys. Long time listener, first time emailer. Great, thank you. First of all, just want to say that although Levi does sometimes come across as a cynical, opinionated douchebag, sometimes when you mean you don't watch the rest of his videos all the time.
Everybody's opinionated, right? Everybody has opinions. I'm just all right stating them.
You're vocally confident.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a bad man. It's also very hard not to respect him when he's quite ready to be as objective as possible, listen to others' opinions, and even admit when he's wrong.
I don't ever recall admitting when I'm wrong.
As for that modesty, how dare you?
Yeah.
So fair play to you, Levi. I may not always agree with you. I do always respect what you seem to be via the podcast. Much love, and my namesake, you're just a mad Scottish bastard with a great ability to stop Levi in his tracks with a thought that he may not have considered. Much love to you too, big man. Thanks very much, Mike. That's really kind. Anyway, enough of the circle jerk shit. Oh no, that's when we go upstairs and we admire Levi's organ in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Just wanted to offer a counter to something you mentioned about Anderton's being a great shop. 25th October show. I know one bad experience doesn't make anything good or bad versus the thousands of other transactions that have happened before or since the story, but it's good to have as much feedback as possible.
I don't have the energy to go in and watch that entire show to see what was stated about Anderton's, but I'm reasonably confident that when we talk about, or when we've ever said Anderton's is a great shop, it's never about it being a great shopping experience. In fact, we tease them all the time. When I talk about the only positives I'll give Anderton's, and the thing we may have said on that show, or I may have said on that show, is that I'd been watching some of their keyboard stuff on YouTube, and their keyboard videos are great. I'm never going to call Anderton's a great shop. They just have a lot of stock options. It's like Guitar. I don't like Guitar, but they have stock options. I knew that I could go into Glasgow and get my Nord keyboard, and if I went to most music shops, chances of me finding the keyboard I want was slim on the ground. So.
That's fair. I think businesses, as they get bigger, lose exponentially their ability to touch grassroots customers.
Yes,
it does happen.
Yeah, I'm never going to put Anderton's in the same tier of shop as Peach Guitars.
totally different type of shop,
Yeah.
but I get where you're coming from. You've got the boutique that's based around particular buyers and really high quality equipment versus.
No, here's the thing: Peach Guitars have expanded. They have two stores. They have the original one, which is Braintree, I believe, but they have opened a big superstore in Colchester, and it's they've got a few bits of boutique stuff in, but largely speaking, it's budget guitars. Sub £1,000 guitars.
Right. Okay. So interesting of them. I like that. Good on them. Sorry, Michael, let's continue with your story. So a few years back, I put on order the Ibanez Jake Bone Signature 6-string, the JBM 100. The JBM 100.
I like that, the Jibe.
What?
The Jai.
The Joy. Fuck you. The JBM 100 made in Japan version. The staff I spoke to at that point were friendly, knowledgeable and courteous, answered all my questions and were all happy to help. Just before we go any further, that is a beautiful guitar. I did quite fancy one. So I put in my deposit and just waited for delivery date to roll around. Months I waited. 4, I believe. So first phone call. Let me just check. Yep, everything with your order seems okay. There's just a delay. Well, that seems fair. That's the last pleasant phone call I have with them. Second phone call. The woman that answered was not very helpful, rude, impatient, and seemed like I was disturbing her from her rolling her tampons or something. Rolling her tampons? I've never heard that before in my life. But told me the same thing as the first phone call, just in a very rude way. I wasn't happy with that. I don't think there's any excuse for bad customer service. Yeah. Like, if somebody had a bad day or whatever, that's fair enough, but if you're going to work in a customer-facing role, at least act like you give a fuck for 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Give the customer the chance to piss you off, and then you can disconnect. Because then you can cite them as the reason why you were being an arsehole. Don't be stupid and start. You know what I mean? You play the game. I'm only kidding. Then the final phone call, which was made a week, maybe 2 from the final delivery day. Again, rude, impatient, assholey. He proceeded to tell me that the line of guitars were not available and weren't going to be. They stopped being produced just before my order was placed, apparently. And that whoever took my order, they didn't have they didn't have conveniently.
Info that they didn't. So whoever took the order, they're not sure who it was.
Info they don't have conveniently shouldn't have taken that order. All the while speaking as if I was the idiot in the situation. When I asked whether there hadn't been a single phone call made to me to make me aware of this situation, he couldn't answer. If I had been stood in front of him, I imagine he would have just shrugged his shoulders. And when asked why they were happy to take money as a deposit on an item that apparently was not available at the time, or the order being placed, same thing, he couldn't offer an explanation. So I asked for my deposit back, which they did refund, but again with an attitude that seemed to suggest they were Scooby-Doo baddie, just being foiled. I would have kept that deposit money if it hadn't been for that damn pesky mic. It sounds like you and I probably have the same beautiful, warm, fuzzy feeling inside when you fuck a company over and they try and start their pish with you. No, enough. Anyway, he just could not have been less interested. He was not forthcoming with any information and acted as if I had ruined his day. Really quite poor to hear that. For any store.
Yeah.
Really, really, really poor. Doesn't seem like all that big of a deal now, but at the time, wow, I was not impressed. I just couldn't believe a company that big and well known was so ready to bullshit me and take my money, and then not tell me what the hell was going on with the guitar I'd ordered. And then have 2 out of 3 of the staff members I spoke to either be woefully misinformed or just out and out lie to me. From that day, I never ordered a guitar with them since. Side note, their staff aren't as enamoured with Chapman or Chapman guitars as Lee would have you believe either. Before that story above, I was curious about Chapman guitars. Needless to say, I never bought one on the back of what was told. Not worth the price, and wouldn't have one given. Their words, not mine. Anyway, I've ranted far too much as it is. Love the show. Love the bands. Keep it up, boys. Kind regards, Mike Bryant. P.S. Don't feel obligated to put this email in the show. Just want to pass on the story more than anything. Don't be silly, Mike. If you send something in and we find it interesting and we read it, which we read everything, we're going to talk about it. And especially when it's like an interesting counterpoint to something we spoke about or another discussion starter. Yeah,
there's just no excuse for that sort of.
I've only got one objection to make here, Mike. Who on their right mind would think that the staff that work at Anderton's are actually enamoured with Chapman and Chapman guitars? They're still human at the end of the day. Yeah. Give them a chance. Don't write them off right for the start.
Yeah. What was I going to say there before you made me chuckle? No, it's just completely.
You're probably going to say something about the fact that Mike wrote at the bottom of his email, don't feel obligated to put this email in the show. Just want to pass on the story more than anything.
Actually, no. So that has helped. So we talked with Mark Loveridge.
Yes,
and he had an Anderton's story.
He did.
of a negative experience of dealing with Andertons, and the stress of not stress, but again, let's go with inconvenience. The inconvenience of trying to get money back on something when they couldn't deliver a product. And there's just no excuse for that, although I wasn't overly happy with my Fender situation at Guitar. When I decided enough's enough, I'm tired of waiting for this guitar and you can't tell me when I'm going to get it, I want my money back. That I had it back almost immediately. Like it wasn't a problem, because there's no reason it should be a problem. So yeah. And even stranger when you like so here you've dealt with 3 different people at the company, and all 3 of them aren't the owner. So why do they care so much? What? Like, it's not my money I'm refunding you. Like, you're a customer. We've got your money, and we can't give you the thing. Cool, I'll give you your money back. If you owned the company, I can see you dragging your heels with stuff like that. But this makes no.
I was just looking up Mark's story. It's pretty bad, to be fair, isn't it? If you remember reading through it.
I do remember reading through it. I'm not going to say I had made the assumption that it's not to be read out on the show. But as I've said to Mark before, with things like, if you send us an email, or you want to enter the competition, you send us an email.
I don't really use email, so here's a Facebook message. Yeah. Like, it's not an email.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll not go into the total details of Mark's, but essentially got yourself ordered up. It was a Schecter, I believe. It was back in May. Kept putting delivery back until it was like mid-November. And he get fed up, decided he wanted his money back, which was 5 phone calls and 4 emails.
Yeah.
And a week later, they finally said, okay. 4 days later for the money to come through. He's obviously waited all that time, got his refund, whatever else. Nothing else has been said. He went to buy another guitar from said company, and essentially they just wouldn't take his money.
Yeah.
They refused his card.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That's fucked, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
That's wild.
We don't want your money. All right.
We don't want to deal with
because you fucked it. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Sound. So it sounds like a really reasonable way to run your business. Well, we don't like them. You give you bad customer service, and we're not giving you any at all. Good save.
Final bit of fan mail from Sandeep Kapoor, one of my long-time pals. I've known Sandeep for many years now. So it's nice to see you writing in, bud. Thank you very much.
I absolutely love the headline of this email. David Ellefson is Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm a huge fan of the show. Thanks very much, Sandeep. Very kind of you. In fact, I wish new episodes were uploaded more than once a week because I'm on paternity leave. New parent here, congratulations. And the show really keeps me company during those late night shifts with the baby. Oh, that's cute. Anyways, I saw this article and thought it was hysterically tone deaf.
So there is a Dave Ellefson story that we will talk about. Of course, he is on Cameo. I missed this one. Have you read it? The
no,
tagline? Oh,
I
mate,
haven't.
Read that.
General Music News / David Ellefson says he knows how Jesus felt after people treated him in wake of sex scandal. Dave, shut the fuck up and go on with your life, man. Stop making people that really want to be on your side hate you.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen this, and it's one hell of a. Where's the quote? Yeah, in here somewhere. Did you spot it?
Third paragraph.
Okay, yeah.
Let me read this through. So David Ellefson was on a podcast by the looks of it, had an interview, and asked how he was doing. Now this was his reply. I'm okay. I just went dark. I took the time to just sort of process it all, heal up from it. I've obviously never had anything quite like that happen to me before. And the fact that it was happening like that was just... I couldn't believe the level of shittiness of humankind. I just couldn't even believe it, man. I was like, yeah, alright, now not to use a religious reference, but I guess I know how Jesus felt. Carry your cross and then kill him. Shit, we got the wrong guy. Not to make it a religious thing, but it's just one of those things. I couldn't even believe it. I'm not going to lie. I deserve better than that. Which is why I got off social media and I got away from all that stuff. And I was just like, you know what? I've poured my whole life into this craft and work and my art and being a performer and entertainer, and no one deserves to be treated like that. That's just absolutely uncalled for on any level. I kind of agree with you, Dave, but if you're going to wank on camera on the internet, the rule has always been, and maybe it's because you're of a slightly older generation that you never got that as a scary lesson before it happened to you. As soon as something's on the internet, it's there forever. You are guilty of whatever crime you have committed, whether you meant to or not.
This has got some serious downvotes.
Oh my god, what is that? 3 upvotes to 62 down or something?
Yeah.
This is on Ultimate Guitar.
Which is why I wouldn't have seen it, because when we're scanning through Ultimate Guitar for stories, we're looking for the highly rated ones that people are enjoying. Yeah, astonishingly tone deaf. Especially, I disagree with his assessment of the situation that he was carry his cross and then put to death type thing. I think, largely speaking, certainly from what I saw, people were mostly in his corner. Sure, people made fun of you. We made fun of you. I made fun of you. But I'm very much in the you've not done anything wrong. You've just done something embarrassing.
Yes.
I don't think you should have been booted out of Megadeth for it. Yeah. But now to say dumb stuff like this, I mean, first of all, don't believe in the Jesus character, so I can't really say do the comparison to Jesus type. You know what I mean? But let's
he doesn't look a thing like Jesus.
let's put that aside and say the character of Jesus that you're talking about was literally put to death, actually put to death, strung up in front of everyone, while everyone watched him die for having not done anything wrong.
But you're jumping the story though. Like, what happened first is they erected the cross. Dave erected something else.
And that's kind of the point, right?
And he definitely came again.
There is no point.
He has risen.
That you can't make the comparison to Jesus, because as far as I'm aware, and I've read the Bible in its entirety, but of course, you are going to forget things in the Bible. I don't remember Jesus being involved in a wanking scandal.
I don't think there's webcams back then, mate.
Fair point. Fair point. But
I don't think a chug and somebody's scribing on a stone. Descend.
I don't. Oh, okay. So, all right. Jesus was lucky that he escaped the no webcam thing. I don't ever think that anybody walked in on Jesus having a wank either. So
yeah, we don't know.
There's no mention of Jesus wanking in the Bible.
Yeah, there's plenty of them about he is coming, so you don't know.
And obviously, Dave is a Christian himself, a Lutheran pastor. Is that right? Yeah,
I believe you're right. Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to let's go with one of your heroes. We'll call him one of your heroes, Dave. Don't compare yourself to one of your heroes with the position you're in, because Jesus, in your worldview, is supposed to be somebody that should be looked up to. A man of very little flaws. Though saying that, there are some absolutely fabulous stories that didn't make it into the Bible, but were absolutely books where the Bible were from Jesus as a child, as a wee child, like murdering, right straight up, just murdering people, straight up murdering entire villages of people.
There's some really selective moments in religion, religious history.
I feel that stuff all should have been in the Bible. Actually, it makes it more.
Are you going to do a Jesus almanac? Yeah. an all tale, the expose of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He was a rape bastard till he was 18. By the way,
I don't speak like that.
Where did that come from? I'm just doing an accent. Don't worry, I was blaming you.
Just a random accent.
Aye. I don't imagine you sound like, was that Hull or something?
Yeah, that's
rape bastard.
York, maybe.
No, I don't think so. Yorkshire. No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, so Dave, don't compare yourself to Jesus, because I feel the reason that Jesus works in the setting he does, as the martyr, is because the idea is that he was a perfect man.
He was the perfect gentleman. He was Elliot Roger 2.0.
who was killed despite having done nothing wrong. You were being unfaithful to your wife.
Yeah.
And doing things that, if you'd truly done nothing wrong, you wouldn't be embarrassed about the situation, would you? You'd be proud of what you'd done. I'm a rock star and women are still interested in me.
I think more important than that, right? Jesus was killed. Dave, you got laughed at on the internet.
Fired from Megadeth.
Yeah, and laughed at on the internet. These are not the same things. These are absolutely not the same things. And it probably doesn't help any that you were seen as just a member of Megadeth after what had happened with yourself and Dave. If you remember, we went from it being like these are bandmates to you're just an employee, basically.
Yep.
Which is pretty shit, but at the same time, you signed the contract.
Yeah. We're going to fire through these stories
yes.
at a rate of knots, because I know Mike needs to be back being a dad for 10.
For 10.
Yeah. So Dave Ellefson is back on Cameo. again, maybe a little bit tone deaf, but if you want to spend $30 on a personal video from David Ellefson, I wouldn't risk it, if I'm honest. He has a reputation for making videos, and I don't think I'd want one of them.
Come on over, Davey.
Let's do a positive story. So,
did you just instantly bypass that?
I
like it. Right, he's on Cameo. Bye.
Yeah, well, I did say that we were going to be going fast, and we have been talking about him for the last 10 minutes. So, Billy Strings.
I've been linked this a few times. I don't know who Billy Strings is.
Oh, okay.
So if you give me a bit of context, I love the story. I really love the story.
Billy Strings is a bluegrass guitar player who has evidently become incredibly popular over the last year.
As a character more than a musician?
He's a great player. Like, he's an incredible player. I would recommend, I guess, everybody's probably going to recommend his tune Dust in a Baggie to go and check out.
I've heard that.
So that's a great tune. It's a bluegrass tune, but it's also a bluegrass tune about having a meth addiction. Like, he's a character, shall we say. Great player, great singer. I didn't realise that while I am seeing people talk about him a lot, currently, I didn't realise he had reached the level of success that he has, because Billy Strings donates guitars to all the students at his former school. And I was looking at this thinking, are we talking like Rob Chapman here, where he's like thrown 12 fucking B-stock guitars at people?
I had spoke about it for months on end before.
I actually just mentioned Chapman. I need to interject, right? I do not appreciate everybody saying that I look like Rob Chapman with my head shaved. So thank you very much, but no thank you.
To be fair, your haircut is size.
Why
would you consider that as the word to use? Sorry to go on a rant when you're trying to talk about something nice and positive, right? Who the fuck thinks the word size makes a good, daft... I don't even know how to describe it, like a colloquial term of patter?
Oh, caffeine keeping me alive.
Yes, I feel you. I don't get it. Why would you want to try and use the word size as cool?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Read the story.
Yes, thank you. I think we've gave Rob Chapman enough time. We've noted in the past how the immense popularity of bluegrass guitarist and singer Billy Strings within the wider pop culture is having a real influence on young people becoming interested in the music, and he's just demonstrated that in a large and public fashion. Ahead of a pair of shows at the Fillmore in Philadelphia, Billy and his group visited the old school in Ionia. Is that Ionia? Is that right?
Yeah.
Ionia, Michigan today, bringing with him a new acoustic guitar for every student. They pulled up in their 2 tour buses and a U-Haul filled with 200 guitars with ukuleles for the kindergartners. Though he was born in Lansing, Michigan, and spent part of his childhood in Kentucky, Billy went to school while living in Muir. After his family moved there when he was a child, he attended the Twin River Elementary School as a boy and said he was only too happy to come back bearing gifts for the current students. My guitar has always been there for me, through good times, bad times, and everything in between. The guitar has taken me places I could only dream of. My hope is that one of these guitars does the same thing for one of these kids. I look forward to coming back and seeing how the future musicians progress for years to come. He also spoke to the students before handing out instruments outdoors, masked and using a megaphone, telling them about his music teacher while he was there at Twin Rivers and how she helped spark his interest in music as a boy. What a wonderful gesture and a true act of kindness for the students in his old school. Hats off to Billy Strings. Pretty fucking cool, man. What an effort. Just turning up with 200 guitars and ukuleles, like, alright, Waynes, here's your freebies.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch.
Mate, that uke's cool as fuck.
Yeah. The thing I will say about Billy Strings, let's do it like this. Billy's an interesting character in that he's a metal guy as well. Not that he plays metal, but yeah, if we go to this well-known video, see if you notice what I noticed very quickly. I don't mind having a bit of sound in. Fuck it, sue me.
Not again.
So, should we get him playing?
Aye.
Yeah, and by all accounts, a really nice guy. I want to say a nice kid, but that feels really... God,
infantilizing.
Fuck, I'm an old man. So good on you, Billy Strings. We like that.
Yes.
We'll let you do this one quickly.
Jerry Cantrell teases the possibility of a collaboration with Faith No More. I don't think it was really a tease. I think it was just commented that it would be nice. But having Mike Patton on a Jerry Cantrell album, I think, would be absolutely a big dick. It's been a fairly busy year so far for Jerry Cantrell, as well as teaming up with Gibson for a high-end Wino Les Paul custom electric guitar and teasing an upcoming signature Gibson songwriter acoustic guitar. The Ellefson Chains guitarist has also been promoting his new solo album, Bryant. In his recent conversation with Life in the Stocks podcast, as anything to go by, however, Cantrell has no plans to take his foot off the gas and has instead voiced his enthusiasm for a potential collaboration with Faith No More. While speaking to the podcast, Cantrell spoke of Faith No More's Mike Patton, evergreen creativity and profound influence. Thanks, advert.
Yeah.
Why is the internet so shit sometimes, man?
Yeah, literally can't get rid of this fucking ad.
It doesn't have an X on it. When quizzed by radio presenter turned podcast host Matt Stocks if he ever jammed with Patton, Cantrell replied, "I never have, but I would love to. That guy is sick," before reflecting on the time he saw the Patton-fronted Mr. Bungle in LA in February 2020. Cantrell continued, "Patton is sick. I love how versatile he is, the energy that he has. He's got so many different voices, I don't think he's ever satisfied, and that's why he keeps swimming so fast. It's just amazing to see all the notes and the different art he puts out," he added, before revealing he originally decided to start making indie records as a result of Patton's influence, a decision that led to Bryant, his first ever independently released solo album. I also took a little bit of a lesson out of his book by going it alone and making indie records, he continued. Former Dillinger Escape Plan vocalist and Cantrell collaborator Greg Puciato, or is it Puciato? I'm sure it's Puciato, is good buddies with Patton as well, and he's also had experience doing independent records and running everything out of a little mom and pop store instead of major record label. So that's another really interesting feature about this record. It's my first completely independent record, and I definitely took some notes and guidance from Greg and Mike Patton through Greg in that department.
So,
it's not really teasing.
Yeah, there's absolutely no teasing of a possible collaboration. He's just talking about how much he looks up to Mike Patton.
Hey, motherfucker.
So,
but I would absolutely cut my dick off to hear that. I think that would be unbelievable.
Okay, here's one for you.
Foo Fighters set to star in upcoming horror comedy feature-length film, Studio 666. This is the secret horror film they put out, isn't it?
No idea.
You haven't seen the artwork for it?
No.
It's done like an 80s slasher movie.
Right.
And it's like the recording studio, and then they've all got their wee faces at the side, but it's like they've been animated, but almost as if they're trying to make it kind of true to life, like oil painting style. It's really good. Featuring all 6 Foo Fighters, Studio 666, which will be released February 25th. We'll see Dave Grohl fend off supernatural forces as the band seek to record their 10th studio album in a haunted mansion. You know what? The poster makes it look a wee bit like the original Evil Dead. Foo Fighters have announced they're about to temporarily hang up their instruments and trade recording studios for film sets for an upcoming horror comedy feature-length film, Studio 666. The film, which is being made in collaboration with Open Road Films, is set for a wide domestic theatrical release on February 25th and will star all 6 Foo Fighters, which is Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins, Nate Mendel, Pat Smear, Chris Shivlett and Rami Jaff. Naturally, the film will be filled with a fair share of Naturally, the film will be filled with a fair share of rock and roll befitting of the band's musical roots. As per the synopsis, Studio 666 will see the Foo Fighters move into an Encino mansion, the same one they recorded their previous effort, Medicine at Midnight, in, steeped in grisly history to record their much-anticipated 10th album.
That'll do.
That's enough. I think it'll be a very interesting film to watch. What length it'll be, I don't know. But I thought it was something they just decided to drop off as a laugh for kind of Halloweenish.
Sure.
But for it to come out in February, all right.
A theatrical run.
But we are talking about how much we like to see people doing something different. I know the Foo Fighters don't really come under metal these days, but they're certainly doing loads of cool stuff.
I'm fully supportive of that. So we have probably 15 minutes. And I want to talk about the piss story. So, I'm going to tell you that Gibson are releasing quarter-scale miniature models of Slash's Les Paul and acoustic guitars.
Don't care.
Don't give a fuck. Lamb of God's Randy Blythe preaches about crowd safety in the light of the Astro World tragedy.
Hot take, Randy, you killed a man.
Yeah, accidentally, I'll give him that. But
in a crowd safety.
Yeah.
I know. I get the point here. He's probably making the point of I have lived experience about how easily things can go wrong.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm the wrong person to.
Gene Simmons says that unvaccinated people are delusional and evil. They're the enemy in comparison to flat earthers. I find it very interesting that websites like guitar.com would take the opportunity to put Gene Simmons in a positive light, but I feel that that's probably what they're doing here, because I think most news outlets are very supportive of being pro-vax and all of that. So nice to see Gene Simmons saying stuff that's that makes a little bit of sense.
I mean, I get it makes sense in the sense that we want everybody to be well, but I also do believe that people should have their own rights, and that we just kind of need to let people do what they're going to do. It's shite. It's a horrible grey area, because
it shouldn't be a horrible grey area, but yeah,
but you know where I'm at.
Absolutely, mate. Like, I'm
free will versus the greater good.
I'm
whether you might call it the greater good or not, it's up to you. Like civic duty, whatever.
No, I'm as you know, like I've said it on the podcast. I'm not anti-vax. I'm pro-vax, but we are in a dangerous place in the UK now, where we are making vaccines mandatory for NHS stuff. Doesn't matter how good a thing it is, telling people that's coercion right there. You can't make a living unless the government can tell you what you have to do with your body, which so here's the mad one. I don't think, if we speak about abortion, and everybody loves men talking about abortion,
no one better to talk about the issues of a female bodily issue than men.
But you cannot take a pro-choice position. Women have the right to decide what happens to their bodies. You cannot take a pro-choice position and then also say NHS staff workers have to be vaccinated.
No, I mean, you can, but I get the point of saying it's hypocritical to apply that logic to one situation.
Of course you can do anything. Yes. You can't do that and have me take you seriously.
Of course.
If you're pro-choice, you should be pro-choice everywhere. And while I'm not somebody that's going to refuse to have a vaccine at all, I take no issues with having a vaccine. I do appreciate that there are people that don't want to have a vaccine, and I don't think there's any circumstance that would exist that would make me think that the government can force people to do something that they don't want to do.
My body, my rules, is the old saying.
But evidently that we are moving away from that. You posted this in this Spotify new royalty payments to arrive. To artists. It's painted as though it's a big issue, but even the guy's pinned comment is him essentially saying this isn't actually that big a deal.
Of course it's not, but what my point from it was that I can't believe there's a company like Spotify or whatever out there making arguments that they're losing money in the midst of making money off the back of other people's art that they had nothing to do with. I get they've put the platform in place. I get they've put the distribution in place. I'm not saying they aren't owed something, but for the artist to be getting 10% royalties.
What I actually enjoyed from this video is at the end of it, and for wider context, I'll bring it up on screen so people can see.
Damien Keyes, Spotify's new royalty payments to artists revealed. It's a really good watch. I would go and check it out if you're interested at all.
Check out the video, go and check it out. The thing I actually enjoyed, I thought it was going to be something we wouldn't mention, but actually at the end he brings up a nice point, a nice analogy where he talks about when you subscribe to Spotify, you pay $10 a month for every single song that exists that they have as part of their catalogue.
And more.
But next month, you're paying the same $10 for every song that exists, plus all the new stuff that's come out. So month by month, you are paying the same amount of money, and you're getting more and more and more every single time. And there's an inevitable economic problem there, whereby that cannot last forever. But if that $10 has to be spread out between everybody, if more and more and more and more material keeps coming to the platform, there will come a point where that will all fall apart. Sorry, I'm waiting on a delivery. Okay, it's my window cleaner.
That's okay, mate.
That makes sense.
Like exponential growth has got to happen for both ends.
Yes, and here's the problem. We talked about it on the podcast before, and actually we mentioned Ashley Janner a long time ago, which was the girl that had the issue with Spotify. I still have my interview filmed with her and the audio for that, and I've just decided that I'm not going to put it up because I can't. I don't think she comes off well in it.
Is that the one where she doesn't pay for Spotify?
She doesn't pay for Spotify.
Well, after being lambasted by the professor.
It's not just that she doesn't pay for Spotify, because of course, if you're anti-Spotify, I wouldn't expect you to be paying for Spotify. I guess that does make sense. But she also says that if Spotify was to be more expensive, if streaming services were more expensive, so the artists could get more money, and you could guarantee that money was going to the artist, she also wouldn't pay more for it. And it's like, well, you are part of the problem then here. So this exponential growth thing, you saying it needs to work on both ends, you're absolutely right, unless you're taking the position whereby Spotify's releasing more music, so Spotify needs to give away more of the money that it's making. It's all three. Spotify needs to give more to the artists. The artists are giving more to Spotify in the sense that they're creating new content, but the consumer needs to pay more for it.
We need to stop being so fucking greedy.
Yeah.
We do. The convenience model has led to having way more options than is necessary, way more content than you could actually sift through to make your mind up on whether you want to be part of it or not. It's just too much. Did you see the video that I sent you of this? Sorry,
yes,
we're moving on swiftly.
Well, no, I'm segueing into it. So Spotify, they're just the entire industry, but Spotify more specifically just feel like they're pissing on the face of the music consuming public and pissing on the face of the artists that put them in business. Speaking of pissing on the face of...
Yes, it's from a slightly different angle. This is pissing on a random person in the crowd.
Let's talk about
I say a random person in the crowd. So, Brass Against.
Yeah.
We spoke about Brass Against before, actually.
Have we?
Yeah, 30 or 40 episodes ago, because they'd done a cover of Killing in the Name of in the studio,
Right,
and we were talking about it. That I didn't realise that was the same band until I looked into it. So, I didn't think there was going to be much in terms of... I don't know, criticism or conflicting views regarding this band, because obviously a band who are doing like a kind of brass, ska, big band version of like rock tunes and stuff is cool, but it's just like, we've probably seen it. However, when I saw the headline, I was like, what in the name of almighty fucking fuck? And I think even the band members themselves, if you look at the chap that's standing behind her, he's like, what the actual fuck is going on here? And then sure enough, she's like, well fuck it, let's take a piss in this guy's face. And, I mean, the other thing to consider is, how fucking hard must it have been for her to muster the ability to start that piss in front of everybody? She must have wanted that as much as that guy.
By all accounts...
Your big man just fucking Triple H sit there, did you see that?
Yeah.
It's time to play the game! Look at him, he's choking to come down the Titantron.
By all accounts, she had talked about needing a piss several times during the show, like desperately needing to pee. Probably could have run off to the side of the stage and peed on the floor.
I didn't see it in this, but I read, somebody said that something along the lines of the guy had a GoPro on his head that came off during the piss.
It wasn't a GoPro, he had a can of beer on his head.
Oh!
Yeah, there's a picture of him.
Here, tell me he wasn't trying to get the can filled so he could drink it or something.
Because that's the... Oh, sorry, people can't see.
I got the picture with the piece on the face, man. He is very nice.
Yeah, he had a can of beer attached to his head. It wasn't a GoPro. That was why she brought him up, because he had a can of beer attached to his head.
What an actual weird situation.
It is a
very
weird situation.
If there was like one expectation I had where you were going to see somebody channeling G.G. Allen on stage, I wouldn't have imagined it would have been Brass Against. Let me put it that way. So
here's the thing, I didn't pay any attention to who the band was. I just saw that somebody had pissed on someone's face at a concert, and my default reaction was...
Nice.
Was more like, that's pretty... I'm not going to say pretty standard for a punk gig, but it's not unheard of.
Of course.
For something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this isn't particularly interesting. It becomes more interesting when you focus on who this band is and what this band does. This isn't an extreme punk band playing small shows in dirty little clubs. This band's about to go out on the road supporting Tool. I think... Fuck, they are...
She's practising for Maynard. That's what it is. He's choking for that big slash right in his face.
Yeah. She has made this band the most talked about band in the world right now.
You know what? In terms of viral marketing, it is probably the best thing that's ever happened.
Yes.
Although she will always be known as the woman who pissed in a guy's face on stage.
Some people took a lot of issue with this, and like that, trying to explain like there are ways that you could have dealt with needing to pee on stage without assaulting someone. I'm sorry.
He's willing.
Yeah, there is absolutely no assault that has taken place here. You can call it crass. I'll give you that.
See, even at that, like the only real issue I have with it, because at the end of the day, these are both consenting people.
Yeah.
Is people who maybe brought their children with them to that gig.
Yes.
Potentially young people being exposed to that kind of thing.
Yes.
And that...
Mike's playing the dad card.
but in general, right?
You're right,
like,
you're totally right.
For me, don't care. Consenting adult, I don't give a fuck. I find it humorous. I find it quite an interesting topic of conversation. If I took Finlay to a gig and he saw that, he would be like, why is that woman peeing in that guy's face?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have a real good answer other than, I think the two of them are quite unwell, buddy. We'll just forget that it happened.
Yeah, so obviously not being a dad or being a dad figure in any way, shape or form, I'd not even considered that.
That's the only reason I can have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Except maybe like stagehands, promoters, etc. being like, or the venue or the actual festival being like, do you really think that's why we booked you? Like, are you happy with that being something you're known for? Maybe they'll lean into the hype and they'll be like, shouldn't have done that, but Jesus Christ, it paid off.
Yeah.
There's a wee extra £500 for you. So I don't know, you know what I mean? But just that consideration of other people have to witness this. It might be an act of consensual nonsense between yourself and Dan your can man, but really, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Going back to the first bit of fan mail about Mike being able to present things that makes Levi change his mind. I hadn't considered that in the slightest about kids and people, that it would be inappropriate to see something like this and having to explain to someone like that what they've just witnessed.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that scenario, there's no explaining this, is there? You can't say what they did there is okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you've just seen a woman peeing on a man, Finlay, but what you need to understand is that they both were happy for that to happen, but that doesn't make it normal for other people to do it just an everyday thing. So you don't pee on anybody, even if they ask you to. You don't ask other people to pee on you. You're too young for that.
Unless it makes you happy, apparently.
At 5 or 6, I don't think you've got the real world grasping.
But if you get a little bit older and you think that would make you happy...
Oh, I have no doubt that this might spur some feelings in people.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to kink shame, man. Whatever you're into, fucking as long as you're consenting, do what you want.
Yeah.
My problem here is that there are people who didn't consent to being witness to this.
Yeah.
And where that might isn't really an issue in my mind for adults, because we can all just be like, well, somebody got pissed on. Kids that had to witness that and the families have to deal with those questions aren't they really there?
Yeah.
Get me? You know?
So let's go from here.
Cool. So on stage, what's the singer's name? Is it in the Sophia Urista? Sophia Urista, that's so close to urinating or something
That's
along those
literally
lines.
the next sentence.
Whose last name is already dangerously close to urine. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Apparently I'm really funny. Apparently mentioned having to pee several times during the set, then secured a volunteer to be her toilet. Get my man with the car on his head ready, because we're going to bring him on stage and I'm a piss on this motherfucker's mouth. She said, well, Brass Against covered Rage Against the Machine. I got a pee, she continued, and I can't make it to the bathroom, so we might as well make a show out of it. The willing participant from the audience, an old biker-looking dude with a beer can stuck to his forehead, climbed onto the stage and laid down. True to her word, Eurista dropped trow and pissed all over him while continued to sing Rage Against the Machine's Wake Up. We're still processing. This was profoundly unexpected, Brass Against tweeted after the show. We're still processing. It was profoundly unexpected. For you, you fucking did it.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
But this is the rest of the band.
Oh, sorry, right.
Yeah.
We had a great time last night at Welcome to Rockville. Sophia got carried away. The band added another tweet. That's not something the rest of us expected, and it's not something you'll see again at our shows. Thanks for bringing it last night, Daytona. You think they have a word for her? Or with her after the show?
Yeah.
Sophia, I get you were into it, hen, but can you not piss on the fans?
But here's the mad thing. I would be amazed if after that show there wasn't some pats on the back going, that was absolutely mental, well done.
You think when
but
they're on
also we can't do that again.
I think on tour they're probably going to sell like a branded Shiwi.
For them to say we will never do this again, I think is jumping the shark a bit. Like, don't get carried away, boys. You could capitalize on this. This, like, there could be merch for this. There could be VIP tickets to be pissed on. So in the
Their
sense deleted the-
crowdfunder, the top tier is just some pissed pants in a sealed bag. And a since deleted apology on Twitter, they also wrote, "We're truly sorry. Not who we are as a band." You can watch graphic video footage of the incident, brass against P-tape, if you will, below, if that's what you're into. Aye, weird. And it is really weird, a supporting Tool. Like, I hope that doesn't change that for them.
No, I don't see that changing anything.
I don't mean necessarily with Tool as a band, but you could never necessarily say... Or I think it would be very close-minded to insinuate that there's not a chance the record label or whatever would not have a problem with that, or the booking agents, or even venues.
I don't.
Unless they just put a clause into their contract, you must not piss on stage.
I think if they're reassuring them that they're, it was a one-time thing and we definitely won't be doing that again, it's not part of our stage show. I think actually every party involved is going to be extremely happy with this, because suddenly not only have you got Tool going out, who are one of the biggest bands on the scene, but they've got a support band that people really want to go see right now.
People are probably going to go, not along necessarily for the music or for that they think somebody's going to get pissed on or whatever, but the unpredictable spontaneity.
Yeah. Or just to be able to say, I saw Brass Against.
Aye, fair enough.
Yeah, mind that band where the lead singer pissed on someone's face. I actually saw them. They were cool. Like, mate, I had no interest in going to see Brass Against. If you gave me a ticket right now to go see Brass Against, I'd go, sweet. So
what does that say about us as people? I'm not bothered about the pissing, but it definitely makes them more interesting as a band to go and see.
I think as humans, it says a lot about us as people. Though saying that, what do you expect? The human race is absolutely terrible. It's not even about what does it say about us wanting to go see a band and thinking, oh, I'd like to go see them because she pissed on someone's face. Let's also just jump back to the original point. Someone pissed on someone else's face. What are we as people? What is going wrong with the world today? I did say in our group, I said I am so here for this story because I do like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's very rock and roll. I feel that she got caught up in the moment, and I'm glad she didn't shit out of it. She decided she was going to do something, and she fucking did it.
I'm glad she didn't shit.
Yeah. That's ass against that do that. So I am here for this story, but at the same time, you presented a counter here to this that makes me think that maybe this is probably considerably more controversial than I see it in my world. It's all relevant to the world that you are in. So lots of people are going to be. I understand now why a lot of people take major issue with this. I'm still here for it though. Though saying that, if you gave me a ticket and said you can go and see them and she will piss on someone's face, I would be less into it. In the same way that like I saw Steel Panther once and I didn't like it at all because they kept getting girls from the audience out and getting them to take their tops off. I wasn't here for it. It wasn't what I wanted. So
they may be willing participants, but come on, just play the tunes.
Yes, exactly.
Like, Motley Crue did it, and that's where you're getting it from, and so many other bands did it as well. Like, we're kind of bored it now.
Yeah, and in that scenario, I just felt that the girls that were being brought up were the punchline to the joke. Like Steel Panther are a parody band, and that night and every night when they do that, I just feel that they're making you the punchline.
That's a shame.
Yeah, not so into that. Anyway, I think that's all we have for you. So, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So, as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. Going to give the extra shout out to Ormsby again. We will be filming a bonus episode hopefully tomorrow where we take a look at our new Ormsby guitars. If you would like to check that out, please do head on over to our Buy Me a Coffee link. There's a link in the description. You can throw us $1 over there and it got you access to not only that bonus episode but all of the bonus episodes that we've put up there. Though we're going to start to make those public, when I'm a little bit more fucking organised. So you can check out our old bonus episodes. And yeah, but we do, of course, very much appreciate your support. And actually, you can kind of highlight why. In the past, when Ormsby have sent us stuff, they sent us our guitars and they sent us the competition prize and they sent us that extra green guitar, which Mike took. We've never had any import charges. This time we got the best part of £200 import charges to get our guitars sent to us. And Mike's like, oh, well,
Fucking Brexit.
I get paid next week, so like I can square you up for that. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. That's what Buy Me a Coffee is for. We can pay our taxes with that and not have to not have food on the table type thing. So thank you very much, guys, for facilitating stuff like that. And of course, we are waiting for stuff like new intro videos for the show. Point is, when money gets supported, when you support the show by buying the bonus episodes, it does help in scenarios like that where things happen that we weren't planning on.
Try and put the money straight back into the podcast. It pays for the hosting costs. It pays for is there fees for the merch stuff?
It comes off the when they take the money.
Oh, because it's a print to order. That's right.
Yeah.
But it's always good to have. We haven't really spoken about. We're talking about potentially trying to raise money to go to NAMM.
Yeah.
You and I haven't spoken about it either, but as time goes on, it makes me feel like more and more that NAMM's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
And I don't mean that as in like us going to NAMM won't happen. I think NAMM itself probably isn't going to work the way that it has in the past, in any capacity.
NAMM as a worthwhile thing probably isn't going to happen. So, but we'll see. I mean, there will probably be one or two more NAMM shows, I think, before they decide to knock it on the head and go, okay, this isn't working. Though saying that, the NAMM organisation, they do rely on putting that show on so they can take money from the members in order to keep the business of NAMM as a company running. So they'll probably be very reluctant to stop it. But I do think there'll be a couple more, and we should probably still try and go to one as a last hurrah. I mean, imagine being able to say we went to the last ever NAMM show. So
I went with NAMM anyway.
We killed it. We killed the NAMM show.
We were the Trojan horse that delivered the virus.
We are the STD of the NAMM show. We turned up, gave it syphilis, and now it is dead. Fantastic.
I'm going to turn up. I'm just going to write brass against onto my fucking thing and just piss on people while we're there. Climbing on top of the fucking booths.
Absolutely ruining everyone's lives. Mike, until next time.